my goodness. Hello, hello. I am here to welcome you back to the XO podcast. I am very excited to start the next live series. This was live from the Lost Lands Artist Hotel. I was so freaking excited and stoked to talk to so many of these artists that you'll be hearing in the next month to month and a half. It was really cool going from doing something kind of on site next to the stage, learning my lessons at Forbidden Kingdom, that I took all of that knowledge, asked myself how would be the best way to conduct these interviews and conversations with your favorite artists. And I said, lobby, artist hotel, PJs, coffee, tea, maybe some mimosas, and that's it. I am so pumped to start this series off with the one and only upcoming bass queen, LAYZ. I loved getting the chance to not only meet her for the first time, but sit down, talk to her about her future, her upcoming tour with Sullivan King, her EP on the way. There is just so much. She has a new track dropping on Welcome Records this Friday, so make sure to hit the link below and pre-save her new track dropping Friday. Don't forget, you get access to exclusive content, some pretty funny fucking bloopers from the weekend, only on my Patreon at www.patreon.com/thisisLizzyJane. There's sample packs, serum presets, one-on-one lessons, and so much more. So go over there, check it out. And without further ado, this is Lizzy Jane, and you're tuning into the first episode of the Live from Lost Lands XO podcast series. Let's fucking go. This is Lizzy Jane, and you're tuning into the XO podcast. Hi, Layla.
Hello.
Thank you.
How are you?
Good. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. For everybody listening, this is LAYZ. She played her first debut Lost Lands set last night. And how was it?
Oh, that was amazing. It was pretty cool, like, seeing how many people showed up, especially at that time, like 3 a.m. You wouldn't think it would be packed, but no, it was packed.
Yeah, absolutely. And, like, what we had the discussion, like, before about the stage is that it was like the perfect size from like a content perspective for it to look packed, because you just showed me the crowd photo and it looks slam. So that's like, I'd much rather be in that position than like not a bunch of people.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And especially because it was so late, you definitely like draw a crowd if they were there from like 3 to 4.
Yeah, it was interesting because like there was mosh pits and like, are you guys not tired? I was like, go ahead.
No, when you reach that hour, then I don't think anybody's tired.
It's like crackhead hours.
Yeah, it's literally crackhead hours. I was like walking around the festival, and it's like, of course, nothing happens without the fans. But I'm just in the perspective where I could sit and put me in a corner with coffee, and I would people watch for hours because it just gets so interesting. And we were at the Never Say Die takeover because Dr. Ozzy was playing. And you know, they're like headbanging at the rail. It's like 2:30. I'm like dead on the ground. I'm like, we gotta go. I'm over it. But it's super cool. And you've been to Lost Lands like as a fan before, right?
Yeah.
So how has that like transition been from going from like in the crowd to like the back? It's probably pretty surreal. And you're like, wow.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Because it's like, when I first attended Lost Lands, that's what gave me the push to do what I wanted to do. I attended the first Lost Lands in 2017, and I was just like, wow, like, just the atmosphere and, like, seeing the DJs perform. I was like, you know, this is something I want to try out. Like, I think I could do this. And then it's just cool, like, what, not even 4 years later, I'm now on that side. Yeah. It feels so surreal, and it's like, it just shows you if you're consistent and you just, like, believe in yourself and just stay true to it, like, you will, what's the saying? It's like, the only thing stopping you is you.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's true. Like,
that's literally when all the shit was going on with like people getting canceled on Twitter and all the stuff. I'm like, you're literally gonna be the only one to cancel yourself. You're gonna be the only one to allow that to happen. Yeah. And absolutely, like, just in general, in any like self-progression, career, personal stuff, it's usually you standing in the way of yourself, like 99% of the time. So I mean, that's like super awesome to hear. And it's like, even though it's 4 years, it like feels long, but it also feels really short.
Yeah,
and you're like, whoa. You're like,
how
holy
the
shit.
hell did I get here so quickly?
Yeah.
It's amazing though. I feel very blessed, like especially with the team that I have. Like I wouldn't be there without them and like my fans and people supporting me and my family.
Definitely. And you have like a really tight knit group, like where you're from, because you're from like the DMV area, right?
Yes,
so like you, it's like late night.
Yeah, later tonight.
Later tonight, yeah. Because I saw that like all the time. So is that like just like a crew of artists, like a collective, or is it like
it's a collective, and they also do management, and sometimes promotional company a little bit. They sometimes throw shows.
Okay.
So that's what helped me a lot as a producer, because all my friends are producers.
Yes.
I was able to learn from them. Like I would go over their house and just watch them produce.
That's exactly how I learned.
Exactly.
That's exactly how I learned.
It's the best way because you can ask questions. You're like, oh, how'd you do that? Whereas if you're watching a YouTube tutorial, you can't ask the question.
It's like, I feel like YouTube and stuff is like good for like specific topics, or like you're like, okay, I want to learn about like serum, I want to learn about vital, I want to learn how to exactly do this. But I remember when I first started producing, like kind of made the transition from the genre I was in before. I like went over to my friend's house like every day over the summer, and I would just watch him produce, and I would just be like,
best way to learn.
and I would just like kind of conceptualize on like the big monitor, like I'm like, okay, I kind of see how the layout's going here, understand post-processing, because it's like when I give lessons and I like kind of break down projects for other people, people are just like astounded by how much you can do. Like before you know that automation is a thing, you're like, wait, what? You're like, what? Like, and then like, oh, like I understand now. Or people are like, oh my God, like I can't get my sound to sound like 2D, or like it sounds 2D, but I can't get it to sound 3D. And then I'm just like, well, you gotta like post-process it, and you gotta like put the racks on it, you gotta compress it and EQ it and do that, and then they're like, oh my God. And it's like, even when you get to like a more advanced level, there's so much with Ableton that I don't even fucking know about. That
you learn every day.
Yeah, like literally every day moving forward, I always learn something.
New.
And it's cool that there's like so much knowledge available now, which is like a good thing and a bad thing to a certain standpoint, because like if I wanted to make a song and sound exactly like Virtual Ride from 2018, I could make a song and sound exactly like Virtual Ride from 2018.
And that shows the growth.
Yeah, which is like awesome. And I was talking to Must I earlier, and he was like, it was like 2013, and all of a sudden Val just wanted to share his secrets with everyone. And I was just like, fuck you. But at the time, like he's like, but now like reflecting, that is what like built the scene and invited more people to come in and like grow it. And now it's like you see the Fire Society. That's something that like you and I both did. I remember like I was just like looking on a whim because we were in COVID, and I was like, okay, I just don't really want to pay for like lessons, but I want to learn more. And I don't want to do the whole YouTube tutorial thing or like a course thing. And then I was like, oh, this like is kind of cool. I can see like take some master classes, because I think like some of the best things as an artist in order for you to grow, it's not only like experimenting, but like never stop learning. Like you always have to keep learning. And it's like I even talked to like Josh from Mode Step and like all of these Disciple guys, and they take lessons from each other. But like I'll throw like Willie from Barely Alive $50 and he'll like give a lesson to me and do stuff. And it's like even at that level, they're still pushing forward and seeing how far they can like push it to the next level. And right now, I mean, especially at Lost Lands is like this special case. I've never seen a backstage environment like Lost Lands. Like from like
top notch.
Yeah, it's literally, I felt like a family. Like when we went in with Mary, shout out Mary, we like sat down before the pre-party, you know, they're all out there, your friends like texting you, and she was like, we're all out here waiting, and Mary's just, eat dinner, everyone, and then we're gonna introduce ourselves,
catering,
and then we're gonna go on stage and play dubstep for a few thousand people, and like just let me know if you have any problems. And she's wonderful, but I've never had that like experience at any backstage festival.
Like Excision Heat went above and beyond with that.
Oh yeah,
he didn't have to do the catering. He didn't have to do the nice lounge. He didn't have to do any of that.
And talking to like Must I, like you're about to go out on the road with Sullivan King, and Must I's on the Right 10 tour that you're doing dates on too, and I'm doing dates on. And he was talking, and he's like, the hospitality here is just like so nice, and it's like he's like, it's such a difference, but because of like COVID, it's really hard to have that like personal hospitality right now, because it's just, we're still in this like really weird time where things are understaffed. And like, have there been venues in your area that like still haven't opened up, or like event companies that you've seen have like that haven't come back?
One of them, I believe, closed down and never came back.
Yeah, and it's like you're gonna lose those, and it's like the shitty part about that is like those are the people who necessarily take like chances on like you and me are those smaller like promoters. So it's super important to like hopefully get everything back by like 2022 to be in a good position to, you know, keep growing like not only on like tour circuits but also like headline stuff because it's like it's all important like 100%. In the long run. And so how long have you you've been doing it for 4 years?
Been doing what?
Like producing, like DJing,
I started DJing in 2018.
Okay, great. Okay,
and
sweet.
I didn't start producing till early 2019.
Awesome. And then that's when I think I kind of came across you when we were on the Girl Gang compilation.
Yeah.
That was the first time I was like, holy shit, there's a lot of girls trying to do this. And that's like a super special space that like Jeannie's created where I remember like when we started, it was really... I knew like Jeannie and I knew like Hades and I knew like a select few group of girls. And then when Girl Gang like kind of came together, I was like, wow, there's like actually a lot of girls who are like actually making their own music who are trying to do this, which is super, super awesome. And like that's how I feel like the future can be like pushed forward.
Definitely.
And there's also like you run around with a group of guys too. And like I do the same thing where it's like most of my friends in the scene are guys. Yeah. And there are so many guys who are like advocating for women, which is good.
Yes.
And I feel like that's like a huge kind of, it's not like it never was like that, but I think there's enough like players who are cool. And like what I said on Thursday was that, you know, when you went up, when I went up, when Sippy went up, we're all playing our own music. We're not going up there and like playing fucking On Profit or playing like some crazy edit.
We want to showcase like, what we got.
and that's like important because like that's how you like play with the big players because like at the end of the day, it's like it is important to be a really good DJ, but it's also important to be like a producer. And it's like, this is why we're here. Exactly. This is why we're on the stage. Like, da-da-da-da. So it's like super exciting. And you've had a few releases on Subsidia, right?
Yes.
Okay, sweet. And that was like your first kind of big label.
Yeah. I've never released on a label until Subsidia. Yeah. That was really cool.
They're like super cool where like they've given like not only you, but like the group of guys that you run around with, like all these, like it gave this space for a lot of people who like the bigger names were playing out their tracks, but they didn't necessarily like have a home for them. And then Excision's like, let's go. Like, let's run it. And now they have the Subsidia stage, which is like super fucking awesome.
That stage was awesome.
Literally.
The visuals wrap around
all of the visuals. So I was like looking at them and I'm like, are they all just like really good like VJs and like visual techs, or like are these people's visuals? And I was talking to some of the artists that played yesterday and they're like, I've never seen my visuals look that good. So I'm like super, super, super pumped. And like with the stage that we played on, Raptor Valley, it's literally like a cube.
Yeah. It's so intimate though. Like everyone's together. It's like, it's a nice crowd.
And it's like, it's almost like there's like a wall there, but there's not because like everyone's pushed into that corner. So there's no like sound bleed. I was astounded that I could go from like, it's like not even that far in between the stages and there's no sound bleed. And I'm like, okay.
And like, because Wampy's right behind it. So you see the lasers going above our stage. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm super fucking pumped for tomorrow. It'll be
you're gonna
good.
kill it.
I know. I'm very excited. I'm like, yes, let's go. Because I was like, I'm not coming here until I get booked. And then I feel like really inspired from this week. Like even going yesterday, like watching some of like my favorite producers like Chime, like Big Beats. I'm just like, okay, like now I would like to go home and be like in my bedroom. But it's really awesome. And has it been, because you played like locally for a while, right? Kind of like in your area and like
DC, Maryland, Virginia, and PA a lot.
See, that's really cool because it's like that. I went to school up there before I transferred down my freshman year, and like that area is so small that like you can really like grow that local fan base.
Oh yeah,
and like it be in multiple states too, which is awesome. Where like with me in Florida, it's so easy to get stuck there because you can have like, you see tours either include like 5 dates of Florida or completely skip out on it.
Really?
And it's like that's what you see a lot with like our local rotation is because you can play like Gainesville, Tampa, Orlando, Miami, Jacksonville, and not even get out of the state of Florida. So it's fucking wild. Where like where you're from, you're like going from state to state. Yeah. And it's good to establish that because like that's your basis. Because that's why I wanted to have you on. Because I'm like, even though like you're like a newer artist, like you have this support system of like industry people, but also like fans.
Yeah.
And like a lot of people don't have that when they start out, to like start on like such a strong basis of like, let's go. And like the dubstep FBI people, like they
Love
both
them.
had us. Yeah. And they're like super sick. I finally get to meet them today, which will be sick. I've never met them before. I'm like, I will be there. Like, let's make it happen. Cause I was supposed to meet them at Imagine, but then like that should happen.
Oh my God.
When I saw everything with the camping, I was like,
like,
knocking on wood. I was like, this is not going to happen. But they pulled it off, and it's beautiful outside. Yeah. It's literally beautiful. I could not ask for better weather.
Yeah.
And with you starting to like tour around more, has that kind of been a change mentally? A little crazy?
Lot of no sleep.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I'm going on a bus tour. It's not like flying. It's a bus tour with Sullivan King, which
That's the way to do it, though. I'll tell you that, yeah.
I'm nervous, just because I've never been away from home that long.
Yeah.
But, we'll see. I'm really excited. I'm kind of glad that, like, since the bus tour will be there, if I'm tired, like, after I perform, I can just go to the bus and sleep.
You don't have to deal with getting to flights. You don't have to deal with airports. You don't have to deal with hotels. Like you'll still have hotels, but it's like, it's going to be, like, so much easier. Yeah. Like, that's ideally the absolute way to do it. Yeah. And you save, like, so much money.
Exactly.
And I know, like, from, like, a support way, like, this is a great opportunity for you where it's, like, really awesome to get you for the first time in new cities, but it, like, can be very financially stressful on the back end. Yeah. And having the tour bus there is, you should, like, be like, thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much. But it's so exciting, and, like, you are a really good pairing with Sullivan King, because it's like, I kind of do the more melodic stuff, but you're ready for
like the
dubstep.
hardcore
You're like
metal shit.
Smosh it, like, let's go. And are you working like on a lot of music right now that you're kind of excited to start putting out, like debuting?
Yeah. I have this one song called Spark.
Yeah.
It's not released yet, but it has like a metal intro. I played it out last
I was about
night.
to say, did you play it out? Yeah. Was that what you played at the pre-party, or was that another track?
No, that was a different one.
Okay.
The one I played at the pre-party, that's going to be dropping on Welcome Records next month.
Okay, sweet. I love Welcome Records. Yeah. What's her name just took the A&R position, right?
Chrissy.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy how you kind of see the back end and how there's really a very close-knit group of people that, like, really, like, make a lot of stuff happen. And it's really cool to see, like, a lot of women take that front position.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's something new.
Yes. Oh, definitely. And, like, Lee Must Die was talking earlier, Maria from Never Say Die, she, like, handles all their marketing and, like, all of their, like, merch stuff and even stuff with, like, the label on the back end, like, A&R, and he's just, like, she's one of my favorite people that I've worked with. Amazing. He's, like, on two hands, like, all of my favorite people I work with, like, in the music industry are women, like, period. And it's cool to see that shift, and he's just like, they just, like, get shit done, and I'm like, yeah, they do. I'm like, yeah.
And, like, Ride 10, for example, he's the first artist I saw that added 3 women.
Oh yeah. Well, you notice shortly after that,
people started.
Oh yeah. Oh, you, like, nonchalantly saw it. You would see, like, kind of like some girl DJs, like, throwing a little shade. They're just like, if he can do it, like, why can't you guys all do it? Like, okay. And then you just started seeing, but it's like past due. Like, there's like, I get it that there's people on both genders. It doesn't even matter. Like, there are people who are ghost produced that are guys and girls. Like, some of your favorite fucking artists. And then, like,
couldn't have said any better.
Like, and it's like, as a woman, like, you feel like you start from, like, negative 100 to get to 0, and then you can't fuck up. Like, you cannot fuck up, because if you slip up, it's like, oh, never mind. Yeah. When we got up there the other day, I was like, watch, I'm going to press pause. I was like, this is what's going to happen. Right? I'm going to press pause. And then some other guy did at the end, and I was just like, I'm not fucking doing this shit. But it's cool to see that growth, and like, that's what has to happen, even if people don't, from the other end, like, don't feel like that we necessarily deserve it because we haven't put in the work or we haven't put in whatever. It needs to be accounted for.
People don't see, though, what goes in the back end of things.
No,
they don't
at all.
Like, I'm not here to, like, prove myself to anyone.
Yeah.
But it's like, you don't know. And it's hard when you have a boyfriend that's also a producer.
Yeah.
And you get he makes your own music.
I can't
get ghost
imagine.
produced. And I'm like,
My boyfriend works at Verizon, and people still say my boyfriend makes my music. So I'll just tell you that it doesn't matter what your boyfriend's doing. They're still gonna say shit because it's easy to. It's just the way that I think any job goes, and whether you're in the music industry or not, it's really easy to like play those cards, and it's really hard to admit sometimes that like, hey, like maybe she's like fucking working harder than you. Like, I'm sorry. You know, and I know like every woman for the most part that I know in this industry is an extremely hard, diligent worker. Yeah. And like hones their fucking craft and does their shit. So like there's nothing and I see like groups of girls kind of starting to collectively like come together. And it's really cool because you also see male artists like supporting them. Yeah. For the first time ever, I see really, really big artists advocating for like girls and like, let's collab, let's do this. Like I look at Jessica Alfred and like she for a very long time, which I was like, she's like inspiration as a woman done. Cause like
she's amazing.
She's amazing.
Love her.
Yeah, no, she's wonderful. She's gonna be here, I think later today or tomorrow or something. I've had her headphones for like a year and a half, so I have to give them back to her. I have them with me, but like. They're like, but it takes a long time, you know? She's been doing this like 10 years, you know? And like, it's a little bit different when you come from, you know, somewhere that's outside the United States border. Yes. That's like a totally different situation. Like when I talk to like Sippy, I talk to like Lucille Croft, like she's still in Australia, or like Godlands, she's still in Australia. And it's a whole ordeal to get like a visa here, and especially with COVID. So,
oh my gosh.
And I even like, not even like talking about women, like talking about just producers in general. Some of my favorite producers are from overseas in like the bass realm, like on Profit, Tripal, E-Craze, Leotrix.
I need you guys to get over here.
Yeah, like literally, I saw I did like a podcast with Naughty Step. Yes. Like he's like, why are these people not on the lineup? And I'm like, because they can't get into the fucking country. Like it's I mean, I even watched like the same shit happen to like big artists like Funkcase and Dr. P couldn't make it at Forbidden Kingdom because of their visas. You know? So and the same thing happened to Odd Profit this time. So it just sucks. But hopefully next year we'll be in a little bit of a like better position. Yeah. Do you work in Ableton?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And like when you kind of start your tracks, are you starting from like a factor of like inspiration, or do you start with sound design, or do you start with like a melody?
I always start with my intro.
Okay, yeah.
I always want to go for a theme with the song.
Yeah.
So I just start from there. My weakness is my drops. That's the last thing I do.
Mine is my sound design. I will like sit there and I'll write this like beautifully orchestrated thing, and then I'm like, okay, you're writing EDM. Like, you need to, like, fucking figure this out. And then I'll, like, go in and I'll do, like, a different sound design session. But it's cool to hear because I think everyone, like, starts other places. And some people have, like, really specific methods of what they want to follow in order to, like, make a certain song. And then other people are, like, I just do it. I just like start somewhere. But I love intros. Like intros are always, I've like submitted tracks before and they've been like, yeah, you need to cut down your intro. I'm like, I love my intro. Like I love my intro. So it's just really awesome to see the progression, and Welcome Records is awesome. I love GRL.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they've been really pushing that like metal, mid-range, like harder bass kind of sound.
I love the mixture of metal and dubstep.
Did you were you like a metalhead and you're like 14,
my brother,
15,
it rubbed off on me.
Yeah. I was the same way because I mean like the song structure is literally the same. It's literally you look at like breakdowns, drops, like build-ups, all of that stuff. It's kind of like if you stack a metal song on top of an EDM song, you get a pretty similar breakdown like once you like separate the parts. But I like see people now where like I see like real mosh fits. When I used to see mosh fits at like EDM shows, I would laugh because I'd be like, you guys are not moshing. Yeah, no. You're frat boys pushing each other in a circle. Tour. Yeah, versus Warped Tour where you're like, you have to stand with your arm up and you have to like get back. And now like yesterday when I was watching Murata,
oh my God.
I was literally like, I was like out front of house, and at one point I was just like, there are like 7 pits going on. I was like, this is insane. I'm so excited to see Void everywhere. Tonight. This is like the first time where I feel like I'm actually like attending a festival again, and I'm like, okay, like I have to see this person. I have to see this person. Like, let's go. Let's do this. Yeah. So it's really cool, and it's like so inspirational too. But it's really awesome because I feel like for the first time, and like I'm like, I wonder if you feel the same way too, is like it's obtainable to get there. Mm-hmm. So where it's like when you're in the crowd, you're very much so like, okay, what do I have to do to get here? Or you're watching videos on social media. Like that's what I was doing in 2019. I was like, okay, like Sip's up there. Like, I need to figure out how to get up
Yeah.
there and, like, figure out how to make this work. And then, like, once you're there, you're like, oh, okay, like, feels weird. Like, maybe I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm here. And now, like, you can just, like, work your way up, get to a bigger stage, do this, do that. And the team's important, but, like, the music's important, too. It's all, like, a fucking puzzle. It's, like, big,
Put
like,
everything together.
yeah, it's, like, all a piece of pie. And it's, like, we just live in a world with social media where, like, it's all important. So you have to pay attention to everything, even though it's all, like, part of the job, you know?
And, like, that's what I wanted to do for my set, because, you know, when I attended the first Lost Lands, that's what made me want to do what I am now doing. So I wanted to make sure, like, my set, I know there was a couple aspiring DJs and producers in the crowd that was watching me. I wanted them to have the same feeling that I had back in 2017. Because, like, I got there on stage, like, 4 years later, and I'm like, you guys can do it too.
Yeah.
And it's like, not only is it the music, but people need to realize it's also social media presence, networking. It has a lot of the other stuff to do just besides music.
Absolutely.
Like, you just gotta stay consistent.
It's so consistency too. It's like, and it takes a long time to figure out, like, I'm still figuring out, like, the balance act of, like, okay, you're balancing your, like, workload, making sure you're able to finish stuff, balancing the social media presence, balancing the other stuff that's, like, feeding into your project, merch designs, this, that. And it takes a team to really make it, like, work efficiently, and, like, it's just time and running it out. But I think what's really important that, like, you had in your area and I had in my area is, like, having that, like, local group of producers as well as a local following, because, like, I had so many people from Tampa that were like, oh my God, like, she used to be a fucking resident DJ and now she's, like, right there. Yeah. And it's like, but, like, that's what shows people that it's, like, obtainable. It's the same thing with Sippy. Like, Sippy was pulled up in, like, 2017 by Bear Grylls, and then she was like, okay, well, now I'm here. Like, this is it. Like, this is it. So it's really cool. And, like, you know, obviously we're talking about girls, but same thing happens to guys, you know? Yeah. You see guys who are playing local support, they're getting their tracks played out by Excision, they're getting this, they're getting that. Now I'm on festival this year because of Subsidia. So, like, it all, hard work, consistency will pay off.
100%.
No matter what.
No matter what. Just stay away from the drama.
Yeah.
Focus on yourself. And just do your thing.
Oh, yeah. Like, putting on the blinders is important because most of the time the loudest people in the room don't matter. Like, they don't at all. So yeah, it's good to have those, like, close-knit friends, and then just have the acquaintances, and, like, don't burn bridges, don't be a fucking asshole to somebody. Yeah. You don't have to be, you know.
Be a good fucking person.
Just be a good person, and usually, like, good things will come. Yeah. But do you have, like, anything that you're looking forward to that you can share with us, like merch or new music? Like, you just teased new music.
Yeah,
new mix coming out, anything along those lines? I'm sure you have more shows kind of coming up, especially with the tour.
I have the tour. I'm playing EDC Orlando.
Yes, that's gonna be in my hometown. When you're in my hometown, I'm in Canada. So there you go.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that. Working on an EP.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We're gonna shoot that over to a label. I don't know if I can say it.
Yeah, no, you're good.
That's gonna be 4 songs.
Awesome. That's exciting.
And new merch, yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping it was going to be ready for Lost Lands, but it wasn't. But I think it's going to be a good way to showcase it for the Sullivan King tour.
Oh, definitely. No, I was literally the same way, just because I literally probably have T-shirts, like, sitting at my front door right now, which I'm like, great. But it's like, on tour, honestly, it will sell more. Like, it definitely will. Yeah. Like no doubt about it. And that way, like, you're just, like, spreading your bases, like, everywhere and stuff. Yeah, the merch is, like, the best way as an artist to kind of, like, make that direct income, especially if you're doing it, like, kind of remotely, like, to yourself, not through a company.
It's the best way to get more.
Oh, definitely. And, like, all fund it back into your project.
Yeah, back into visuals.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It's all, like, a big circle.
Yeah.
And it all just funds right back into the project, and then you make, like, a big heavy sigh, and then you're like, okay, here we go. This is it. But no, it's, like, it's super cool, and I'm really excited to, like, see your growth, because, like, I've watched you, like, from when I was like, okay, like, I don't know who this is on the compilation. Then I was like, oh, I've seen her name before. Oh, I've seen her name before.
It's funny because, like, when I first started up, I knew you, Jeannie, and Mad Girl. Like, those are the 3 main ones. And it's like, now I'm here with you.
Yeah, yeah,
no. I looked up to you. So it
which is super cool.
Circle.
Which is why it's, like, for other girls, like, that Girl Gang Discord is, like, a great place to be, because not only, like, are we all producers, like, any advice, and even like the female chat that we're in on Twitter,
Yep.
like there's just stuff that we can talk about that if we're in a group of guys, it's just not gonna it's not gonna like stick on the wall. So it's really cool to see that support rising, and it's like I think everyone's playing its part, from like the women on the back end of the industry to like dubstep FBI girls to the girl artists. Like it's all kind of like rising together, but it's very exciting. So thank you very much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. Everybody go check out LAYZ. She's gonna be on tour with Sullivan King. When does that start?
November 17th.
Okay, soon. Awesome. There we go. All right, tuning in from Artist Hotel, Lost Lands, XO Podcast. We out.
And that's a wrap on our first live podcast from the Lost Lands Artist Hotel. Next up, we have Level. He is part of the DPMO family, Funk Case's child. I am so excited for you guys to hear this interview. We talk about a lot of cool shit. It's going to be dropping this Friday, so make sure to 1, subscribe to me on YouTube, 2, follow the podcast on Spotify or Google Podcast, and 3, have a wonderful rest of your fucking week, and I will see you on Friday for another episode of the XO Podcast.